I used to live way out in the country. Not desolate, but few neighbors and lots of land. It was summertime, so for me that meant very late nights on the internet. Our only computer was in the guest bedroom on the opposite side of the house from my room. The house is pretty wide, so I had to pass through 3 different rooms if I wanted to use the internet. So it's about 2 a.m., and I'm on the internet talking with friends or something. Anyway, some situation comes up where I need to get something from my room, so I exit the guest bedroom. I walk through the laundry room, tiptoe quietly through the kitchen, past my parents' bedroom because the floor creaks, and enter the living room. I'm 6 feet from my bedroom door when I hear this blood-curdling shriek coming from right beside my left ear, the side that the dining room table was currently on. As in, there is no space for anyone to stand there and actually start screaming. I sprinted to my room, slammed the door behind me, grabbed whatever I came for, I still don't know why, weapon maybe, and sat on the corner of my bed. The funny thing is that after a while of sitting on my bed, I eventually went back to the computer to tell my friends what just happened. The next morning, I asked my parents if my mother woke up shrieking that night, and they both just looked at me and shook their heads. That was my first and only strange experience in that house. So my grandparents, for some reason, had a way of always moving into haunted houses. The houses weren't really creepy, but they would always have weird, paranormal stuff happen. But to keep the story short, here's my experience. It was summer vacation, and I was around 14 years old. At this age, I always would stay up late, eating junk food and playing video games. Because of this, I could hear the vibration of anybody walking down the hallway. I was at the end of the hallway across from my grandparents, so if I heard someone walking, it would usually be my grandpa, getting some heartburn medication. It was a recognizable pattern, the sound of feet hitting carpet, as he makes his way down the hall to the medicine, and then back to the bedroom. It would be finished off with hearing my grandpa close his bedroom door. Then I started to notice something. Randomly throughout the night, I would hear these footsteps. If it was any later than 1, I would open the door, and nobody would be in the hallway. Staying rational, I assumed my grandpa just got inside his bedroom before I saw him. I got used to the sounds, since they weren't super loud or anything. It's just footsteps on a carpet. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just hearing things half the time. One night, I was laying in bed and just watching TV. The head of my bed shared the same wall as my bedroom door. One night, I heard the footsteps again, making their way down the hall. Then they come towards my end. Cool, I'm used to this, and I usually just ignore it. Could be my grandpa, could be the ghost. But then, the footsteps stop, and my doorknob makes a crazy clacking sound, as if someone is rapidly turning the doorknob without actually opening it. I jump out of bed, run to my door, and try to catch whatever it is. My grandpa can be funny and possibly messing with me. Nothing. Dark as night, quiet as can be. I open my grandparents' door slowly, and I'm greeted with snoring. Till this day, I never know what was messing with my door. About 4 years ago, I was ending my freshman year at college. I had lived in the dorms with a kick-ass roommate, and pretty much had a great experience altogether. Towards the end of my last semester, something seemed different in my hall of the dorms. We were all still our lively selves, but just walking into the dorms would give you this massive feeling of dread. We all wrote it off as the stress of finals approaching, but it just felt off. Well, one night after studying, I decide to hit the shower so I can just wake up and make my way to class in a few hours. Before I keep going, I should go ahead and set the layout of our hall and the bathroom. Our hall was one of many halls on a single floor. Each hall had 4 rooms that accommodated 2 people each. The entrance to the halls were massive steel doors with a small window located at one end, and across from it was the bathroom. It seriously felt like a prison block rather than a living quarter for college students. As for the bathroom itself, when you walked in, you were immediately met with 2 sets of sinks, 2 sinks aside, on your left and right, with massive mirrors facing each other, and creating that infinite loop of mirrors. Then past that, you had your 2 urinals and a toilet stall on your left, and 2 showers on your right. When facing the left set of sinks, you can clearly see into the showers from the mirror, if the door is open. And at the right set of sinks, you can see the reflection of the shower. The door of the bathroom was identical to the entrance to the hall, a massive steel frame with a small window that didn't allow for much of a view. With good reason. The door was propped open with a giant wooden wedge that couldn't be moved unless you were really trying to close that door. So back to the story. I'm all alone in the bathroom, gearing up to go shower. I throw my change of clothes on the right side sink so that way I can reach around the stall and grab them. Once I set my stuff down, I happen to look up into the mirror and I can see in the distance something almost shimmering inside the shower stall. As I look at it, I notice that it slowly gets closer, like it's jumping from the furthermost layer to the next layer closer. I'm kind of unsettled, but I don't think much of it other than me coming down off of a massive caffeine kick. But it starts transitioning faster. As it gets closer, I can start making out details, but nothing vivid or striking. It's just a dark mass that looks like it's covered in hair. At this point, I'm freaking out hardcore since this thing is getting closer in the mirror, and I'm pretty much frozen to this one spot. As it gets to the 4th layer, I get the closest look at this thing I'll ever get, and I regret every minute of it. It wasn't hair, but some kind of long flowing veil. You could see through it partially, but from the torso down it was just solid black. And the face. I can't describe it. It was clearly human, but at the same time, it was so far removed. There were eyes. They were black but definitely glowing somehow. I only saw this for maybe 2 seconds at the most, but it's burned it into my mind forever. Then the lights cut out, and I hear the door slam. It's pitch black in the bathroom, so I can't see this thing anymore. I go to open the door, but it won't budge. And then this intense smell of blood hits me out of nowhere. And that's all I remember. I woke up later in the hospital. From what my friend claims, he was on his way to go use the bathroom sometime after this happened, where he found me in the shower stall with my shirt covered in blood from a massive nosebleed. He tried asking me what happened, and according to him, all I could respond with was, "It saw me," and I start freaking out. So he calls an ambulance, and they get me to the hospital. All the while I'm apparently freaking out, so they sedate me to get me to calm down. I just started getting back to reality, and around that time my parents show up. Worried sick, of course. I ask them what happened, and according to the doctors, they believe I had a seizure. However, they ran CAT scans soon after I was cooperative enough to do so, and found no sign of any seizure occurring. Not to mention, epilepsy doesn't run in my family at all, and having taken Adderall countless times in the past, I've never had a similar side effect, neither hallucinations or potential seizures. To this day, I still can't bring myself to look into a mirror for more than a minute. And just being stuck in a room for an extended period will just cause me to break down. I've been to therapy going on 3 years because of this, and I've talked to countless religious leaders who, besides giving me the general, "Well, you should turn to God in times like these" talks, don't recognize that kind of pattern as anything demonic or evil. And the strangest thing is that before that incident, there were no actual claims of activity in those dorms. And since I left, there hasn't been any either. It was just that one isolated incident. So, I don't know if this is exactly scary, but it freaks me out. I live close to a Walmart, so when I need to go, I just walk there. But the trail takes you behind the store, then you have to walk along the side to get to the front. There's somewhat of a forest area all the way around the back and side of the store. My boyfriend and I were walking one night to get some stuff for root beer floats. As we were walking up the trail, we saw a black dog sniffing around. But it was very dark in color. And I jokingly said, "What if it's some sort of creature?" And the dog whirled its head around at that exact moment, looked at us, then took off at a speed I've never seen a dog run before. I'm talking like some The Flash speed. Pretty damn weird. So then a couple months later, my neighbor tells me she and her son had seen a creepy black dog roaming around the back of Walmart. Okay? Couldn't be the same one, right? Just a coincidence. But then she tells me that when it spotted them, it took off at the speed of light. Then, my boyfriend comes home in somewhat of a panic a few weeks later and says, "I saw the damn dog again. It's just weird. It's not black like a dog would naturally be. It's black in the way an absence of light would be, is the best way I can describe it. All I can say is, be on the lookout when going behind stores where there is a forest area."